Hello everyone, Russell Wright from Network Empire. I'm the co-inventor of the Theme Zoom natural language processing application. I'm also a business coach, a life coach or human evolution catalyst that uses a combination of teaching neuroscience via neuromarketing and neurotheology to help you find the optimal balance in your life, as well as integrating cybernetic business principles, that is, integrating the machine world with the technology world to build a passive income. We're really excited about what we do over at Network Empire, and although it's one of the more advanced learning curves in the world when it comes to integrating technology with business, you'll find that how you do anything is how you do everything. So you might as well do it right and have a comprehensive view about the web and your business, as well as your whole life congruency. So that sounds like a mouthful, but if that type of thing resonates with you, we look forward to seeing you at Theme Zoom to discuss your particular unique case. Now, today we're going to talk about curation. Content curation is one of the more confusing, powerful, new buzzwords or memes around the web. And I want to clarify, as I have in my course at curationprofits.com, that there are all different kinds of content curation. There is real-time news curations, where you have experts such as Robin Good who teach real-time news. You have RSS curation, which is slice and dice RSS aggregation. You have basic topical curation, which has to do with experts in a particular field organizing their topics. And we actually break things down into esoteric versus exoteric curation, meaning there's curation inside your own organization versus curation in news and topics within your industry constantly coming in from your vertical playing field. Now, it can seem a little bit overwhelming, not to mention theme curation, which is natural language processing and how you organize conversations around keywords. Now, it can be overwhelming because I believe that it depends on the size of your organization. Middle to larger size organizations have so much content that they have lost, or the content is churned to the bottom of their archives, that they need to work on curating their own content internal to their organization and with their own databases. Whereas marketers and news journalists and a lot of the real-time news journalists who are jumping on the bandwagon, having watched the newspaper industry begin to fail, are having to learn to become what we call knowledge experts. And knowledge workers and knowledge experts require a new mindset. So what I try to do in my course, Curation Profits, is help you combine a lot of this insight to show you the difference between premium content curation and the mayhem, which is curation for most people. You don't really make money as a content curator if you don't know what you're doing. Curation is really about the human integration of meaning making versus idea making. So information overload is not really the problem, it's potential meaning overload that creates problems with the new web, as we have billions upon billions of new websites launching every week, every month. So let's go ahead and take a look at a recent question that came in from our Curation Profits course. This is my friend Shelton, and he asked about curation tools, which ones and when. We're going to talk a little bit about that while I run through this. Curation tools confusion. Shelton said, in regards to curation platforms, at some point, could you explain when one would use Storify as opposed to Scoopit as opposed to Curata? That's a great question. He continues to say, I ask because you said a few weeks ago that the paid version of Scoopit is the premier platform. I see you still mainly use Storify for your work, so he finds a contradiction in that, which I'm going to explain. He also says, of course, the big drawback to Curata is the hefty price tag, so maybe it is only good for large companies who rely on a team of curators. In any event, I'd love to get your take on it. Okay, thanks, Shelton. All right, Shelton, let's go ahead and look at it. First thing I'm going to say is size matters. Okay, Theme Zoom architect Sue Bell and my business partner and I have created a system called the One Web Ring to rule them all. This is all part of the networkempire.com membership and educational process. And what we really look at is the size of your web rings and the size of your agenda, as well as the integration of your overall business activity. Web ring number 1 has to do with your branded sites. Okay, and web ring WRS1 are any social sites that are branded and are congruent with your products and services, where you are straightforward with direct branding either a personal brand or a shield brand, meaning either a regular logo or a person that represents the brand, such as a lot of consultants use, or network marketers and these types of things. These sites represent who you are, and they have a particular kind of branding modality that you need to use on them. If you're starting to get into advanced SEO and you're building an empire that's in a vertical market that has, say, greater than 10 million pages of competition online, specifically if that's phrase match competition when it comes to keywords, you start looking at different kinds of competition, okay, and different kinds of technical integration. We call that WebRing number 2 and WebRing WRS2, which is WRS means social. And in the event that you're a very large organization with probably hundreds of thousands of dollars to spend, maybe less, but we'll get into that, depends on the size of the organization. We even have a process we call WRS3, WebRing Social Ring WRS3, and WR3. Now we have different branding modalities and different things that you can do within those modalities. And Curata and Storify, as well as Scoopit, all of them have functional use within any of those web rings, and I'm going to go over a little bit of the difference, but most people never get past the first 2 rings, which is their primary branded site and their WRS2, that is the social empire that they should build to surround the camp. Okay, and it's really important that integration via SEO, RSS automation, and micro content syndication, as well as premium content calls to action. We call that the golden frame in our course. It's important that those all be integrated in a very stackable, step-by-step way, okay, in a very stackable system. So we'll talk a little bit about that here. Now, rather than overwhelm you with the details, let's just go ahead and look at it. Storify is a system that I use to handle my micro press releases, but it's also a fantastic tool to help you organize the elements of your story. The reason it's useful is because you can just simply create a story on the fly. When you don't have a lot of time, you can just simply put the story together without really getting too much into it. If you run into something during the day, you can just drag and drop the elements of the story right into it by just simply using one of the functions in the editor. It's a really fantastic application. There's other applications out there that are similar to this, such as Bundler, bundlr.com. I prefer Storify so far because it's got a pretty easy interface. It's got something called SoundCloud that works really nicely with it and has a nice visual interface. You can pull in your own RSS feeds, your YouTube channels, and you can even use the Storify bookmarklet. Now, rather than get too caught up in this, my point is that you can use it to launch real-time news curation, but you can also use it to create spin within your own industry, and then incorporate that or integrate that into your own systems by creating a larger article. So for example, if I use this to create an article, for example, the end of Market Samurai from Google Data to Bing, which is a story that happened in the last couple days about our friends over at Market Samurai. I did a video release, and you can see that I almost always use what we call premium content curation, which is really about using your own content to generate your stories and micro press releases within your organization. So these elements are organized based on pulling in a few different articles from other places, but it also helps you organize your story internally and pull off a micro press release so that you don't have to spend hundreds of hours. Okay, then you can republish this to other locations within your own organization that are more secure because they're on your own platforms. They're more premium. But it's a great sparker. I would call this sparking. You know, when you have ideas and you want to put them together in an element before you publish them, you can lay them out and sort of sculpt or craft your story. And that's really what Storify is for. In fact, I can show you a little bit. You even have stories, if you go and look at you have stories that are unpublished, and you can use that as a percolator. You don't know that you'll necessarily, let's go back to the profile, that you'll necessarily use these stories, but you go to draft mode, and you can see things that I never really even published, okay? All right, so this is really giving you an idea of how that works. Let's just go ahead and go back to what we were talking about here. Now, let's go ahead and look at Scoopit. Remember I showed you that you have the WR, the web rings? I use Scoopit for extra SEO oomph. Broad category topic organization. In other words, I wouldn't craft my story in Scoopit. I think that's what a lot of people get confused about. You can also scoop your Storify stories and give them extra SEO power. I've actually seen Scoopit outrank Storify and my own blog post. It's that powerful because he's using a layout that actually takes into account what we call theme curation. We call this theme clustering at themezoom.com and networkempire.com. And it's really important to understand how that works. I would recommend only using the advanced version. I've been so busy developing applications that I let my upgrade lapse. And I've talked to the developer over there. I just haven't had the opportunity to upgrade it. But I do not recommend that you use anything other than a paid version, because we talk about in our course, curationprofits.com, how you need to tag your Scoop.it system and how you can use it to get direct conversion. And so I'll probably be upgrading this afternoon. And I've been so very busy with the hundreds upon hundreds of people that have been coming into our course that I definitely need to walk my talk when it comes to upgrading this. But I've worked with the developer a little bit on how these RSS feeds are going. You get a lot of social oomph with the traffic that you get from this. I've tested a couple different accounts. Really powerful application. Okay, but again, it's really about on the web rings. Let's go back to what we were talking about here. On the web rings, you could use Scoopit on any one of the different web rings for any number of reasons. You could use it in the WRS1, where you have your own branding on Scoopit. If you wanted to, you could actually use it for what I call video curation, WRS2 and WRS3. Incredibly powerful for that, to the point where I don't even really want to talk about it except private members. I mean, it's like the kind of ranking you get from it is really ridiculous. Additionally, you can use Scoop.it on your own server. I like to get the page rank from the Scoopit work that he's put into it. It's powerful. Google is not penalizing it in any way. I don't think that they will. It's just because it's using the very parameters that we teach at ThemeZoom Network Empire of content curation and theme clustering. Well, what about Curata then, when we're talking about this original question? Well, Curata is a company that I've had great rapport with. I've actually gone through their application. I've been given an account. I think that it's great for companies that can afford $1,000 a month, which is what it costs. You can get a free trial. I've talked to Randy over there and worked with these guys. They have amazingly good material when it comes to helping you understand what Curata is by a company called Hivefire. I would strongly recommend that you download their ebooks, because you're going to get some profound understanding on what's going on with curation. They really helped me. What I would also recommend is that you watch my video on this topic. Content curation.
Hello, everyone.
Let me go ahead and pause that. Content curation, corporate versus small business curation. You can find that online under that exact title if you do a search. I will also put that in the Storify story about this topic. Okay, it's actually a part of the members only. I gave this away to the public. It's been given a lot of kudos because it helped a lot of people first begin to understand the different kinds of curation, what curation is and what curation is not. And I owe the Curata team a big thank you for the help that they gave me in preparing this presentation. Okay, so a better question, for Shelton, a better question, and everybody else watching this, would be, what is the best curation tool ever? Okay, and what pulls them all together? Okay, well, it's Google. And you can pay $1,000 a month for these tools if you're a company that A, has to organize its own material, and B, you want to become, as Curata says, the rock star or the DJ of your industry, and you want all of your stuff hosted on their platform. I don't know where Curata has gone as far as hosting your stuff on their platform, on your own platform, rather, your own hosting company. But if they don't come up with that soon, and they may have, so talk to Randy or anybody else over there, if they don't come up with that soon, they're going to be in some trouble, because Guillaume from Scoopit allows you to to forward to your domain, and he's got a recurring price point rather than $1,000 a month up front. And I know about high price point software because ThemeZoom is $1,000 a month as well, the Kraken application. And you're going to go for a certain kind of market segment, and you're going to leave a lot of the curation market behind, because curation is popular with the small ma and pa and individual consultants. Most individual consultants that are starting off or intermediate cannot afford $1,000 a month. So this is something I know Curata is working on, different price points, but I consider Scoopit to be taking over that market segment because he doesn't charge $1,000 a month. Now, I've talked to Guillaume about creating an enterprise version of Scoopit, which is what we need, that allow me to have unlimited accounts and unlimited hosting and so on and so forth. That I can see being $1,000 a month, but otherwise a lot is being left on the table. So that would be, Curata is not for the individual consultant starting out unless their income within their business at a certain point within their business model, okay? But when I say Google is the best curation tool ever, that costs nothing, I'm going to get more specific with that and say what I mean is Google Plus. And I have created an entire course on this to clarify what I mean. You don't have to buy any paid tools. If you're an intermediate person starting out with curation of all different kinds of curation, okay, all you would need is, you could take our course, Curation Profits, or you could visit us at g-++.com to learn how to use the free stuff that's out there. Even Scoopit has free stuff. Storify is free. All you really need is an integral understanding of how these things work, and Google provides you with almost everything you need, at least for the inner branded rings of your empire. So I hope this makes sense to you. I want nothing more than for you to realize the power of this new real-time web and how you can literally run the whole control panel from your computer and start providing more powerful content by using the principles of curation with free tools. But don't buy a tool until you understand how it's incorporated into your entire business model. And again, size matters, so don't hesitate to join us. We'll talk more about this in upcoming free webinars. I'd like to thank you from our entire Network Empire team. My name is Russell Wright. We look forward to seeing you on the inside.